What's up, everybody? This is and we're back with another video. This is my second stream. Shout out to you all that want to listen. Um, I wanted to do this stream because I wanted to do something. I wanted to kind of revisit this really quick. So, Am1, if you all are, if you're listening, if somebody's listening to Sigma's chat, make sure you ping Am1 to come up in here. I see that nobody's looking at it right now, but I don't. I really don't think he was able to get It's not about him not being able to communicate. I kind of don't think it was really allowed for him to communicate what he needed to communicate, what he was trying to say. And I'm just going to say that. Folks want to close ranks. That's fine. I've been on the other side of that many, many times. And, I remember when Am1 and Ramil really came on the scene. A lot of what they were saying were a lot of things I was already thinking about, really needing to turn the page and really put some more focus, really start to highlight some more focus on things that need to be done in order to, what's up, Roastmaster, create the situation necessary in order to move forward. Look, I more than anyone understand the need to defend, to push back against the shaming tactics that a lot of just the society puts on black men. I understand that. This is why this channel has been and make sure you all go ping Am1 over there. I'm gonna try to do it. But I just wanted to say this. Hold on one second. I get that. And that's why this particular communications channel, this platform has been focused on really the culture situation within the black community to really stage one, highlight a lot of the problems, to really kind of set a thesis for this is why this is what this is. And it is what it is. However, at some point, one needs to turn the page. And these are conversations that I've had. These are the conversations that I've had behind the scenes. So, anyway, all right, pinged them. So here's the deal. So like I said, I understand that needs to be communicated. I understand the need that black men have to communicate that. And there's always going to be a platform by which that will be communicated. People have a right to do their channels the way they want to do them. In fact, you can have multiple channels. People tend to choose to dump everything on one thing because that's simple. I don't do that, but I understand why other people do that because they're really giving their opinions, but it's not all aspects as to who they are. You've heard me allude to the classic black men thing because it is a need to turn the page. This idea that what a black man is doing is implied based on the image or what he sees, that's not enough. And that's not going to be enough. There needs to be more highlighting what is going on. And I'm not talking about for anybody that is trying to tell black men what to do. I didn't say that. So, because shit needs to be validated. I'm talking about, there's a lot of dudes in the platform that are talking about what needs to be done, but they're doing the same thing that the dating coaches are doing. What they're doing is they're talking about what needs to be done, but they're not really mapping out the gradients of it. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but you have to get closer to the point at which, all right, I see you're in here, at which you are able to properly really give people the kind of thing that they need. And that just doesn't happen with talking about what black females do, because I'm going to keep it all the way fucking real with you. like what Morpheus, the reason why I chose a Morpheus avatar is because what Morpheus did is he presented the option. And part of the option, even though the option is a little bit of a process, part of the option is exactly what it is. It is an option. Not no, we're constantly going back and forth, back and forth. And we do what's necessary in order to present the option. But outside of that, it's up to you to take that. It's up to you to do it. This thing that we have where we're constantly stuck in the starting point, um, at some point, it's always going to be channels and people that's dedicated to that first step. And I understand that. But there has to be an expansion where people are saying, okay, we're not talking about the why now. Now we're talking about the what and the how. And I clearly understood what Am1 was talking about, because that is really what he said when he initially came onto the scene. And quite frankly, it was interesting because when Ramil is a lot more forceful about it, because that's his personality, I understood what he was saying, because him and Ramil have the same kind of sensibilities. And I also see the same things that they see in a lot of MOT, and how MOT is kind of separated outside of that, because the difference with MOT is MOT pretty much is already got his shit together. He's always got his stuff on point. He's just communicating, the whys behind what he did, but he's kind of backtracking, versus a lot of dudes are not at that level. I don't give a damn what anybody's saying. Everybody that's SYSBM is not making no 80,000, no 60,000, no 50,000 or more a month. They're just not. And a lot of a lot of content creators may be doing that, but as far as people that are actually in a group and come into the group, that's not the case. And I know that's not the case. And before I let Am1 talk, I'm going to say this last thing. Any of you all that's been looking at my channel for a long time, you all have known that I've had my back and forths. I've had my back and forths with SYSBM. I've said things as far as what I consider constructive criticism that a lot of dudes didn't want to take. I've been on panels where it's been just me, and like when it was the hangout time, it was like 7 other dudes, and it's been just me. With the StreamYard time, it's been 5 other dudes, and I stood my ground on what the fuck I said, and I haven't wavered on what the fuck I said, because I am me, and I apply things that make sense to me as they come along. So SYSBM is somebody I've always been in the outer orbit on, because I understood it was about doing you. But outside of that, that's as far as it goes. So, and it's the same thing with ignoring any of these other acronyms. But I've always considered myself kind of beyond these acronyms. These acronyms I use as a way of like a hashtag. It focuses a conversation when I'm having that conversation. Just like when I'm having a classic black men conversation, that's not the same thing as necessarily an SYSBM conversation. But anyway, I wanted to put this up here because Am1, I wanted you to make sure I fuck with Sigma. I fuck with all of them. So this is not a diss or anybody. Any of you niggas that want to do that back and forth shit, fuck you and kiss my ass. What I'm saying, I wanted Am1 though, is to have a conversation where you can kind of put it out there. It's a lot of people on there, a lot of people monologuing, and they need to. That way you can kind of have control of the conversation. So if somebody comes to a video, they can say, okay, this is what he's really meaning. This is how that applies to what he was saying on that panel. So Am1, what's up?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Edward. Super Triz did a similar sort of thing like that with me when I kind of was first kind of coming into the manosphere. I appreciate brothers like really making sure that this voices is heard and kind of what's being discussed. These kind of things, like, man, again, Oakland, California, real diverse area. We got the hood shit. We got all the way up to the high level billion-dollar business stuff going on out here. And I'm right in the middle of all that, seeing it. And there's brothers out here struggling, black men, unique target on our backs. We got all the good stuff, yada, yada, yada. We know dealing with women is a headache. Dealing with women, if you black, you trying to only deal with black women, that can be a headache. And they're not all like that. Not all women are like that. They all are like that. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's all these different sort of things that are going on, emotional thought processes. I'm angry, I'm this, I'm that, and the third. I'm like, look, bottom line is this: whether you deal with women or not, if you are going to call yourself a man, you have to have resources, or you're at the mercy of somebody else who has more resources than you. There's
that's
no way
regardless,
around
male,
that statement.
female, race.
That's totally just being a human being, period. or if you want to call yourself a man, then you got to be rocking like that,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of women. So it all starts there. Like, and
I should have
yeah.
titled this video, "If you don't own your nuts, somebody else will." But go ahead.
No, I'm glad you you love black women. Now what? It's just weird, man. Like I get people's arguments and all that, and I guess it's cool, it's sexy, it's attractive to say, yeah, fuck these black women, yada yada yada. I get it. I mean, me personally, that's why brothers can try to come at me crazy, and I'm like, well, I deal with whatever women, period. Like I'm not boxing to just only dealing with black women. I'm like, shit, look at me, light skin. I'm it's quote unquote square. I'm lame. I'm all this different shit. Uh, I have what very
Oh,
depending on
don't
who
do
you.
that to buttermilk Negroes.
Yeah, too.
The other black people are gonna start watching what these light skinned niggas doing. They're congregating
Right.
anyway. Go ahead.
Exactly. Like depending on who you ask, how much nigga juice do I have? How much nigga juice can I have? I'm too light. I've heard this stuff my whole life, but I'm still black. I rock with black folks, and I want black folks to win. Now, if that's saving the community, I don't know. The community as it stands is not even a community. It's just a populace. It's a bunch of niggas that's been hurt, broken, defeated, broken down on so many levels for centuries. What are we going to do to fix it? Because I'm not interested in trying to run off and deal with other people as far as business and having to just do business with them. I want to rock with our people. I want to have something like a culture that we can call our own. So it's just weird, man. People are all over the place with this stuff, but I'm just like, bottom line, regardless of what women you decide to deal with, you have to have skills and resources. Young brothers come at me, and I ain't even big in this YouTube thing, in this black YouTube thing, and this manosphere thing. I'm not even big like that, but I've legit had young dudes half my age come at me and ask me major life questions. I'm sure you've had the same. And I'm like, that's terrifying to be in that position where, that's a responsibility position. You can't be leading dudes astray. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you really on some OG shit, you really care, you got to tell dudes what it really is, right? Like,
No,
it's crazy, man. It's a scary game. Like, to think that there's dudes out here that lost. So if you're going to come with some kind of movement, when dudes ask me, Am1, how should I handle the situation? What should I do here? I'm saying, dude, what is the main thing you should be doing that's going to make for your success, make for your freedom, make for your progress? Like, whatever that is, to do that. Don't just follow your nuts. Don't just follow your hormones. You see what I'm saying? Like,
no, absolutely. And that was the
pretty
very
simple,
thing.
right?
Yeah, and that's what you and the reason why I brought up you and Ramil is because y'all, that's the key thing both of you all said, which is y'all may need to just stop fucking for a year or two. And by the way, Glenn and Cameron has said this too. He called it, like, I've heard Solo call it, go no fap. Glenn and Cameron has actually talked about that for like a year. And then I remember the response because you did it first, and then Ramil went and did it. And then you got the same response, different type of dudes. Well, similar mindsets, but still different people, different regions of the United States, and y'all got the same response. My thing is, what it comes down to it is this kind of focus on fucking. Now, here's the thing. To be fair, and this isn't like where I'm about to flip anything or anything. To be fair, I think most of what most things of what gets black men in trouble does have to do with how they use their dick. But the way that you just dealt with that was maybe you need to kind of minimize the focus on that and focus on other things. See, what dudes will say a lot of times is, well, it's not about me fucking, it's about who I'm fucking. And that is absolutely true. But at the end of the day, you got to stop believing that there's these blind spots. Now, there is a need I look at the manosphere as like a city. There is a need for a district that basically is constantly on, deprogramming you from the bullshit. But at some point, it's kind of like basic training. You leave out of basic training and you get more specialized as to what you need to do. Everybody goes through basic, but and quite frankly, even if you're what they call it, the when you go the training from the ROTC, that's not the same lane as just going to the military, even though they all go into basic. The point is this: your ability in the United States of America, in this world, and you tell me if I'm wrong with what you're saying, nothing happens if you don't have control of your economics. Your control of your economics is a direct reflection of your ability to basically live the type of life you want to live. True or false?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You go ahead.
And as a
Absolutely.
man, and the next thing is, you having skills and developing skills is basically going to be if economics is the engine, then the transmission is your skills.
Right.
Without skills, what the fuck the difference between a black man that owns his own house or at least living and paying his own rent and a black man that's living up under a bitch is usually skills. That's why
Right.
so that's all as you're saying. But now see, here's a lot of times where the pushback is they're interpreting that is you telling them what to say. And that's not really what you're saying. But the point is, you see, that's the gravity of where it goes to. Because I've done this with the hyper individualistic shit. I said, okay, at some point, we need to do. I don't give a damn about the acronym if you want to claim that or not claim that. Once I understand we're on the same page, it really doesn't matter what you claim. I know behind the scenes we're on the same fucking page with the stuff that counts, So it's like, okay, now we need to say, okay, you created a system, and I'm not even talking about necessarily SYSB, I'm talking about anything in general. Now you need to be able to integrate that to redevelop your own power. So that may require you working with people that it may not seem on the face value you will work with, because I'm going somewhere here. My point is this, because I look at SY as being more like a network than I look at it more like a movement that's designed to solve people's problems. At the end of the day, it's kind of up to you to realize that it's your problems that need to be solved. That's something you need to be honest about, because you need to be honest about your shortcomings. I'm talking about people in general. But what I want to see is more of an expansion of things of saying, okay, that's over there and that's great. Now let's do something that all that shit is already implied. So if you come over here, you're not coming over here with this bullshit. Even if you're pro-black, that's fine. You're coming over here in order to get skills and learn how to network with other brothers on some business shit, some making money shit, some shit like that. Not you coming over here to tell somebody about who the fuck they fucking and what the fuck they should do with their money. That's up to you with your money, and you can make that case somewhere else if you want to make it. But in this arena, we're talking about options and strategies for black men that can do some, think and grow rich shit, which is network with each other for like-minded things as far as developing themselves for business, for skills. What skills could they take? What are they interested in? What is the where's the glass ceilings on things like that, how they can increase their ability to control their situation. So anyway.
Yeah, man. I just everything you broke down is exactly that. Like I just break down reality to like what we have to deal with. We got these bodies, we got to feed them, we got to give them shelter. That's going to require that we have some type of resources like said food, clothing, shelter. To have that, apparently we have to have some kind of labor system, labor versus money versus, an abundance of that. That's all just basic economics, right? That's basic economics.
Now I got a question for you. Once you finish your thought, because this is gonna be a good question because it feeds into a lot of stuff. But no, finish your thought.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking like, why not focus on that? Because, like, man, in my 20s, I've fucked all kind of chicks, ran around, pussy hounding, doing all that. But what it didn't do is set me up for how I'm living right now. So when younger brothers hit me up, I'm saying, hey, I understand you're in your 20s, your dick hard, you're trying to empty your nuts out. I totally get it. But if you do these things, not only will you be able to do that and actually do it easier, but you'll be less impacted by something like a white supremacy system or some kind of oppression, or you won't have to worry about no punk ass boss worrying about when you clock in. Like I'm trying to get brothers ahead of the game on the fundamentals versus the shit that's going to set you back. You know what I mean? Like running around chasing women all day, you could lose a whole lot of money. But if you're chasing money, you're going to have women.
And before I jump into this other question, like one thing that I've always said, and I said this a year ago, and I said it to those guys and they agreed. When you look at what black men spend their money on by averages, all of it. This is why when people you have the tricking argument, I laugh, because I'm like, indirectly, black men, I would argue, spend almost 70 to 80%, 60 to 80% of their disposable income. I'm talking about things outside of what they need to live on bitches, indirectly or indirectly. So take the skills argument out of it. Let's just talk about when it comes to money coming in, money coming out. That's where it comes to. And that's a big reason why I decided to put so much focus on women in my channel, because it was really to let dudes know. Because see, if you notice on my channel, and I'm not saying that other channels don't do this, when it comes to like the stuff you talk about, the skills you're talking about, I made it clear for this channel that I have, this is what I'm gonna be on. It's more gonna be culture. If you want skills, then Erica Williams for the financial piece, Glenn and Cameron's about kind of a general thing that's gonna tell you what you need to do and the mindset you need to have. That's why I brought up that stuff all the time, because those channels fill that gap. So I'd be like, look, don't, because I've lost subscribers over that, where they've said I talk about black women too much. I'm like, that's not what, I'm not gonna, sometimes I'll jump around, but for the most part, this is gonna be the focus. If y'all want this is somebody that gets it. He gets all of the stuff that we've said. Dude was homeless, dude was married to a black woman, shit went south, had to fight his kid for child support, beat that. She decided to leave with the kid. He'll deal with that later. So he gets it. Is outwardly said he don't even date black women like that. 50 millionaire, living his life, went from homeless to being a millionaire, doing some real hustling skill type of stuff. So all of that is implied. But see, he does not like talking about females as far as that's why he has made a video going out of his way to say, do not come at me with that shit. That because this is what we talk about here as a disruptive male. So I already know he's been vetted. So I push people over there saying, and by the way, he has a lot more credibility, because would you rather hear me, or would you rather hear a dude that went from being a black man that you can see as a black man, that went from being homeless to being a millionaire on sales, not on some I got lucky shit, on some, and by the way, had to deal with racism, and he dealt with it not by complaining about it. He got himself in position to quit. He quit when they told him not to sell shit. He sold shit. You see, he did him, and that's why I push people there. So I get what you're saying, but 60%, 80%, 60 to 80% of the money motherfuckers spend getting rims, getting this. Because see, it's not just about chasing pussy. It's not about just wasting the time. It's also about when you trying to look fresh to death when your ass can go to a fucking swap meet, because you look motherfucker, you live in Bay Area. So you can drive literally to certain places where there's number of white folks at and get certain brands of stuff in the fucking swap meet, fucking thrift store, get clothes. But what is it? You worried about impressing a bitch. I gotta look fresh to death even when I'm fucking going to the grocery store. Why? Because of a bitch you may see, when in actuality, if you just had a balls to approach just on some I know who the fuck I am regardless what the fuck I'm wearing, then people gonna gravitate towards you anyway. But see, that's what doesn't get talked about. And see, those are the real things that them young dudes are having. Not to mention a decade that a lot of times they lose. And then it's like, oh shit, they get in their 30s and they realize, oh, I got to do what the fuck I should have been doing. I should have been doing in my 20s. So now it's like you still want to fuck, but you're not set up in a position where you can kind of create a situation that shit becomes almost automatic vis-a-vis your social circles and stuff like that. What's your comment on that? Hello?
Oh, shit, my bad. All it is
I know I said a lot of shit, so yeah.
Yeah, you got a few points. Really, what you broke down, what I got from that is, it's your foundation. And that's all I'm talking about, is laying your foundation. And my whole point is this, and this cannot be argued. If you are a man, women or not, you have to lay your own foundation, because if not, you're at the mercy of other men. And then you're at the mercy of women who can manipulate you easier. That's it. Like everything about, if you want to talk about any kind of movement like that, any kind of movement talking about black men saving themselves, if you're not making that be a high priority statement in your message, you selling dudes hopes and dreams. You just like you just as bad as everything else that's being sold out here. Like how is that not make sense? Regardless of women, you have to have certain things on point. So when young dudes come at me asking me certain questions, I tell them exactly that. And I'm a walking example of it. I'm right here. I'm in my apartment right now. I have my own apartment in Oakland. It's expensive to live out here. It's a hard game, but I can do it. And I do it working from home, or if I decide to get an office space or whatever. Like I'm flying around the world, flying around the country, doing this different stuff. I tell young brothers exactly how I'm doing it and letting them know, like, hey, it's going to be a situation where if you focus on having your shit together, having some resources that put you in a position to win, you get to call your own shots and you have options. Dealing with women is secondary. Matter of fact.
By the way, most of the dudes that are in their top 30%, that are in the situations you're talking about, they already practice SYSB anyway. So by getting
Right.
dudes those options, the market's going to take care of itself anyway. Continue.
There you go. Exactly to that point. And that's the thing. Like, if anybody wants to come at me and try to, some dude in King Sigma stream was like, oh, I didn't know Am1 was a feminist, just like ad hominem type shit. Because I'm like, bro, really back up what you're saying. I'm like, all I'm saying is, dudes, like, who could possibly argue with a black man who's 41 telling my age and younger black men to say, hey, focus on some type of skills. If it ain't exactly like me, focus on skills and resources so you can be free to travel, get around here and do whatever you want and live life on your terms, deal with whatever women you want, but have money, have options, have ability. Like, who in their right mind would argue against that?
It's kind of like, I'm not comparing you to Martin Luther King, but it's kind of like when Martin Luther King was talking about civil rights. He didn't get killed till he talked about, all right, we need to deal with this economics. The next fucking week, they said, oh no. And then, by the way, they did something even more insidious than that. They gave him a holiday, so locking in the civil rights part.
Right.
But so nobody would ever talk about the economics part. Because let's keep it real. Malcolm X wasn't talking about economics either. So both of them, and I'm not hating on any of them, they knew what it was. It's just that's not what their message ended up being. They were getting to it. But the problem is they took too long in getting to it. And they were able to kind of, that's why people talk about the businessification of Black History Month. You don't hear no I'm a pro black economics dude first. So if you're going to talk about the community, I'm looking at it on some economic / NGO stuff as far as return on investment. It doesn't have to be return on investment as far as money, but it definitely has to be return on investment as far as results. And that's how I'm always going to view it. And really, you got to remember, you're in the West Coast. So the interracialism is kind of implied. You know, it's not built. It's built around, okay, it's central marketplace value, right? So it's like people with central marketplace value or with the economic value or social value, they're going to deal with who they're going to deal with. California is a culture around that because it's a very mixed culture. It's more Asians there than anywhere else in the United States. You know, obviously the Hispanic community, Black community is getting smaller, but still a very big part of the community, as well as the culture around the community, as well as, you know, every aspect of it. And obviously white folks are white folks. So, and that's part of it being more liberal is a lack of separation. It's just classed differently. And so I'll leave it at that. But the question I want to ask you, which is one that a lot of these, because I've had these dudes go with me too, so I don't care, and I still say I support what the overall thing means. But at the same time, this is why I've always said I'm not a card carrying SYSB member. This is the question I want to get to you. Roadmaster said I'm always promoting Glenn and Erica. So speaking of that, this is not going to be a direct question about you doing business with Erica, but it's going to be around that. The conversations that we have about how Black men interact with Black women from a romantic standpoint or relationship standpoint, there's 4 quality of life. Obviously, you know it: money, time, freedom, health, and relationships. When it comes to business, which kind of deals with all of them, you know, outside of health, but business, that is a completely different lane by which you deal with a Black woman, no matter what age or whatever, than it is talking about romantic relationships. So a lot of how people tried to frame what you were doing, I don't know what you were doing. If you were contracted, if Erica contracted you to do videography work, kind of like, okay, we've met up, you know, this dude is cool. I see him. He's cool. He's not like some retarded, and he actually has these skills, and I'm doing these events. Let's do some business together, because that's what Black people are supposed to fucking do anyway. I don't know if that's how it happened, whatever. But my point is, in general, you got dudes that they're implying that you're not supposed to deal with Black women, even in business, even if they got some shit you can make money with them with. Do you get that feeling? Is that just me? Or what is your thoughts on being, quote unquote, doing you, but still doing business with Black women where it makes sense for you to do business with them?
Look, I'm gonna break it down like this. Like, I have no problem talking about doing business with Erica. Like, I look, look. Here's the deal. It's exactly how it worked out. She saw, based on me networking here in the Manosphere, her coming through O'Shea panels, different stuff, you know, coming to know of me, and people who saw my work, talking to her, me, you know, checking out. I'm about
Yeah, because
business.
your shit is good from what I saw on your channel. I was like, God damn, like you ain't on some amateur shit. You on some, yeah.
Man, I appreciate that. You know, I'm always, you know, working. I do my thing. I'm always looking to get better. I'm humble about it. There's people better than me, but my clients like it, and I work with fucking billion companies dealing in billions. Like, I'm not, my shit ain't, I ain't fucking
People
around.
forget you live in the Bay Area.
I
If you
live in the
can
Bay
make it there,
Area.
you can make it anywhere. That
I'm
shit's
not,
high as
look,
fuck.
I am not fucking around. And guess what? I'll be the first to tell you, I'm just scratching the surface on my own skill levels. There's a ton of other things I'll still want to be doing to even be getting better. I'm like, I'm my own worst critic, but I'm still, look, doing video work, motion graphic work. We talking ads, we talking commercials. This stuff literally has changed my life to where I'm traveling the world. And that's based on me saying, hey, I'm a black man. I'm from Oakland. I'm coming up. Why am I going to limit myself on who I interact with? I'm going to do business with black men, black women, white women, any fucking, I'm going to do business with Martians as long as it's not directly conflicting with my morals. And Erica's not doing anything that conflicts with my morals. In fact, she's a good representative for black women being focused on their business shit, because she talks about business shit way more than she talks about relationship shit. Facts.
I mean,
So
honestly, yeah, that's to like a 95%, 5%.
easy, if not more. Like, I've been around her, working with her. And to your question, that's exactly how it worked out. She came out here to Afrotech. Her and Andre Hatchett were out here about their business. People
Ooh,
were
shout out
saying,
to Afrotech. That's where y'all
yeah.
met up. All right.
Well, here's what had happened. I didn't even go to Afrotech only because I was busy with some other projects, and some people were. I was busy with some other projects. Some people were asking me about if they're going to hire me to go. So I wasn't going to pay to go. Somebody was going to hire me, and those things fell through. I was like, fine, I'll keep working on this other stuff I'm working on anyway. But I ended up meeting up with her at her Airbnb spot, a hotel where she was staying at. So I went, or this condo place, this building she was staying at right here in downtown Oakland. And I said, oh, let me come do an interview with her. So I brought my camera, brought my
Which ain't
setup,
cheap.
and did an interview with her. She saw my setup. She looked at some of my other work. She sees that I literally was traveling to different countries. So she was like, oh, well, I do these different events. I'm popping around all the time. So I'm going to have you come film me, and we're going to do like a day in the life of Erica Williams, how I get down, doing these different business things, how I move, how I network. I said, perfect. I definitely can set that up. She asked me about one particular date, if she would fly me out on her dime, paid flight, paid stay, paying me to do the work as you're supposed to do as a professional freelance contracted videographer or anything similar to that. I told her my terms. I told her my rates. I sent her a proposal. She looked at the proposal and said, great. Not only that, let me go ahead and fly you to DC first the weekend before to film this whole other thing. And I sent her yet another proposal. She dropped me the deposit. All of a sudden, I'm getting emails where the flight is booked. We going. It's that simple. How can you possibly hate on that? Who has a problem with that? Show me somebody who got a problem with that so I can smack them upside their head.
Well, I
What's
mean,
what's the problem?
and again, I mean, like, you know, again, I'm not trying to bring up, I'm really not, and it is what it is. But when you talked
I'm not
about,
shy about it. It's no
well,
secret. Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
Okay.
about when you got up on there with the situation with Preem because of what he said. And the thing is, I don't know, motherfuckers be listening to what the fuck he say for some reason. And then I was like with the Rollo show or whatever. And y'all go to Ramil shit as far as his opinions on that. But the point is, what you're getting done is what counts. That's what counts first. And the problem is, you know, like I got mad respect for y'all meeting up because a lot of people don't do the face-to-face stuff. And that's not the diss to anybody else, but that's another level. You know, that's again, that goes back to what you said about the real world. Same thing with Solo TV 84, you, Ramil, all of that. So motherfuckers know, okay, this person's solid. I've seen this. That's why you always had these like back and forth in this recycling of bullshit. But you got mofos that it's like they're battle rapping. Now, to be correct, like I've talked to people behind the scenes too. MOT behind the scenes. Shout out to Sub-Zero behind the scenes, because I'm telling you really need to clue in with him.
I met him in person in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Look, look, hold on. I'm out here in the real world
Yeah,
and was before I ever
exactly.
fucked around on YouTube using actual skills in networking, real mouthpiece, real show of skills, real presentation. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. He talks about your image. That's big. Shout out to Sub Zero. He has tech knowledge ability, the way he presents himself. He stays on the low off camera, but and I understand why. Met him in person, solid dude, exactly who he says he is.
Yeah.
Like Erica, exactly who she says she is. Andre Hatchett, exactly who she says she is. Game Changer. I sat with Game Changer and he gave me a crash course in some programming language and I was just blown away. Me and him still, we sooner or later we're gonna end up doing some business. I network and do this type of shit for real in real life. So coming on YouTube, of course I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing. And I've had great success with it, and it's literally changed my life. So like, I don't give a fuck. Look, anybody who's complaining, saying some shit about some, black men, black women, all this bullshit, most of this shit is just sucker ass dudes who probably ain't even really dealing with women like that. Because if you're gonna hate on a black man doing positive shit with other black people, regardless of gender, you got serious problems and you probably a broke ass loser.
And
Keep it
here's
above.
the thing that I've always said like this. Look, I've said at the end of the day, if I'm not judging you for what you're doing, because this is what it always comes back to. It always comes back to you're trying to change me.
I've
You're
said
trying to bring me back. You're trying to do this. Even if that's not what you're saying, it always gets reframed because it's almost like that's the only way. That's the only angle you can go at. That's why I titled the video what I titled. Because it's like, okay, we're away from that. We're no longer in the slave states now. Now we're in the north. So stop talking about the slave states. Now I get that maybe these unions over here are trying to pull together because they're afraid. So it's on some race shit like that. But there ain't no putting us back in slavery. That's in the background. It's not about not talking about it. People want to have channels because, like I said, the stuff that I talk about on this channel is like culture war shit. Really, I want to do another channel, and I'm actually starting to work on that. It can kind of highlight it because the thing about it is when it comes to people like Andre, I hear them. I see them in the comments and they support, and that's great. But the reality is they can't fully kind of come in the way they need to come in unless it's like a buffer situation. When I say a buffer situation, I'm talking about something that's really more focused on productivity, like when you come to the black business class as far as YouTube and in this sector, it really needs to be okay. This stuff is what they're going to talk about. That's fine. There needs to be another buffer for that, not a buffer where it's like 50-50, but I'm saying, okay, these dudes may come out of the manosphere, but when we're in this space, when we plug into this other space, this is the type of stuff that's going to get talked about because it doesn't get highlighted enough in the manosphere. And that's really what you were talking about. And it's like a lot of the pushback is like unnecessary because it's like, okay, that's what you're saying. And I'm hearing that. And some of these people, we've had conversations about this behind the scenes. Shout out to Jesse Bill, even Sigma, because Sigma flips websites. He understands the valuation of websites like flipping real estate or flipping stocks. And Sigma knows what it is. So Sigma clutching them, I'm not worried about. But what happens is you have more people that's kind of like, okay, they want to defend their right to say black women ain't shit all the day. And I'm like, I'll plug into that as much as anybody will. But at some point, and I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be other people to push that message out. But that's not what Ramil talks about all the time. Ramil, when we get on a conversation, he'll go harder than anybody talking about these hoes ain't shit. But at the same time, it's other shit that he's more about. He's like, okay, them hoes ain't shit. And we know this. And anybody that doesn't know that, they're fucking stupid. And maybe they'll put their hand on the fucking hot stove enough time, they'll figure it out. But it ain't our job to make people figure it out. Our job is to present the options and to say you could be doing this. Now, you could do that either by talking about what you need to leave all the time, like trying to convince somebody to leave a burning house. Well, it's on fire. You should fucking automatically know to fucking leave, or you can talk about it. But I'll say it this way. One of the issues I used to have with the black church, and I still have it, is I don't like evangelism. Right? Evangelism is this idea that you got to knock on everybody's door and tell motherfuckers what the good news is. Obviously, I'm just saying this so people know I know. Everybody knows who the fuck Jesus Christ is at this point. Everybody knows what the good news is. I got respect for Stephen Curry because he lives his life he's a beacon. So it's like, how can I be like him? What is his value system that got him to that point? Because Stephen Curry was not drafted at a high draft rate, right? Um, and he talks about his Christianity and he stands on that. That's what actually had him get with not Under Armour, but who the fuck he got with because of the shoes. My point is, humans are more attracted to who people are, and then they look at the value system after the fact than they are you beating them over the head with their fucking value system. Because they're gonna ask you, okay, well, if this value system is so great, who the fuck are you? How has it benefited you? Now, you talk about what you're talking about. I can say, okay, here's a guy living in the Bay Area, got his own shit in the most expensive market. He's a very good videographer for what I've seen. Obviously, I've seen you're connected. Obviously, you wouldn't even be around celebrities and shit if you didn't know what the fuck you're doing. That stuff is all heir apparent. So it gives you a lot more credibility. You see what I'm saying? And that it's like they weren't hearing that. And I'm like, God damn, he's speaking English like all of y'all. So anyway,
right.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. Like, man, I'm just looking at, again, I always reference, we talk about this Black YouTube manosphere, different people all over the country, different regions. I was just in Atlanta and I met some people from YouTube and people who knew Erica from YouTube. I met Sub-Zero in Atlanta. We were Mill and Andre Hatchett, of course, he lives in Atlanta. They both live in Atlanta. I've been in different places. The Bay Area is very diverse. There's various strata of Black folks, every strata of Black folks, and so many different races and various strata of those races. So when you live in a place that's that diverse, you get a sampling of a lot of different cultures and a lot of different classes within each culture. So that gives you a wealth of knowledge and understanding of how this different shit works and how people are moving. And there's so much money being made out here, so much things going on out here. And with my profession, creating media, even at the low level that I do it at, relative to like Hollywood or something, the whole idea is to frame and shape minds a certain way. And because of the kind of folks that I rock with out here, I'm a big time hip hop dude. I'm talking 4 or 5 elements, old school hip hop. You know, I grew up with that. So my nature is to sort of be community oriented. And I care about Black folks and I care about our culture. I care about our energy. So I do, to a certain degree, want to see Black prosperity and something like an actual unanimously defined Black culture progress into the future. I want to see that happen. And based on everything that I've seen growing up and everything that I'm seeing now, as we move into more tech, for better or for worse, I want to see our people capture a market share of that. And I'm seeing a lot of folks struggling. I'm seeing a lot of folks at the mercy of mainstream media, a lot of young Black boys being programmed into some trap wave, some hyphy wave, if you want to, go that route, since I'm here in the Bay Area. Like Oakland is known for some hood thuggery type shit in a heavy sort of way. We got people like, E40 and whatnot, grown ass men still rocking grills and pushing that same kind of look and that same imagery to our disadvantage. But these are supposedly the legends and the icons and whatnot. So I say all that to say, I really have a very interesting and unique perspective on all of this stuff. So when I see young boys coming at me, asking me certain questions, young dudes who, 20 years out from where I am now, asking me certain stuff, and I'm like, whoa, I really got to give y'all some game. People don't want to really, not that I have all the answers, but I'm saying, why would you not take that type of energy from somebody who cares and who's in a position to see how this kind of stuff works? Yeah, I've worked with different celebrities. I've hired different people. I throw events out here. So I'm in the mix on a lot of different shit. And I'm not trying to sell myself in any sort of way, more than I'm trying to make it clear when I speak about this stuff. I'm coming from a position of, a universal kind of view on this stuff. Like, I'm in a lot of different levels of shit. And I'm like, look, if we don't focus on having some skills, so then we can have like resource to buy property, there's gonna be more problems. Black men are gonna be that much more with boots on our necks. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
like,
and everybody agrees that Black men should have the ability. They should be able to pursue the ability and have the ability to come to conclusions on their own. and nobody disagrees with that, because all this stuff is always framed about trying to get somebody to come on a plantation. They'll be like, oh, you working with women, oh, this was dealing with women, because I'm gonna keep it real, they would be very much surprised at how much I deal with black women on a day-to-day basis. But at the end, and I don't beat them over the head with a lot of these ideas, but if they ask me, I keep it all the way 100. But the difference is, there's a difference between talking about some guy being in the gynocracy and then looking for, okay, how can I validate this female because that's all I know, and dealing with them on some power shit, some partner shit, on some business shit. That's two completely different things, because you can always plug out of that. That point, you understand what the return on investment is of what you're doing. And see, that's a big thing a lot of these dudes are not thinking about. And see, what goes on is a pendulum swung from you are blindly doing stuff and not knowing why you're doing it, to the point where you're just blindly doing something else and still not knowing what the fuck you're doing. You have this thing where it's like, okay, anything but this. And so you blind yourself to the pitfalls of other shit. Like I always tell people, dealing with an individual, regardless of gender and race, is not the same thing with dealing with a group. That's macro and micro. It's different dynamics in that. So when black people always say, oh, well, when I deal with, like, let's say if you talk about like black men versus non-black men, oh, when I deal with white men are the only ones that will really help me do nothing. And older black men, they tend to hate on me. Well, here's the thing. You're not dealing with them as a group. You're dealing with them in individual situations, versus you deal with white men as a group. You may not get that same result. Like, and people don't think about it like that. So they sit there and they draw the wrong conclusion. I'm not talking about like them on the panel or anything like that. I'm just saying in general. So when you hear, I have this statement I always say, do not go red pill for black women to remain blue pill for non-black women. To blind yourself to the fuck shit that everybody else does, or to say, okay, I'm gonna compare a picture that has a non-black woman on it and a black man is successful. I mean, that non-black, that woman is not really the difference maker. It's just that woman is there because she was probably smart enough based on her culture to see an upper rising stock, but she didn't make the dude that way. So you don't really draw anything with that. Now I will say this too. One of the things I like about MOT and the support that MOT's channel has gotten, the support that Fantastic's channel has gotten, the support that Ramil's channel has gotten. Sigma's not on here as much, but his channel will be getting just as much support, is the idea of, I fuck with O'Shea. I rock with O'Shea. But people kind of got, even though people listen, let's keep this real. People may say they get tired of the shit, but they still listen to the shit. And that's what O'Shea would say. And I'm gonna put that out there. They like, okay, I don't want all of the hollering, yelling, screaming, fussing, fighting bullshit.
Right.
And then so they got attracted to like what MOT was presenting. Now MOT is unapologetic when it comes to SYSBM stuff, but everybody already knows, like, when it comes to business stuff like that, he's doing stuff, he knows his stuff, and there's other conversations that get had. So people say, okay, that's good, that's like an anchor of a channel that's growing. And then these other channels that are like growing too, but his is over 10,000 now. Now it could be like, okay, now you see that there is support for like a lot of stuff that you're saying, because you clearly were not the only one to say this. I've said this like a year ago and a while ago. I've been saying this, and then Ramil has recently come out and really hardcore kind of said it after he made his own assessments and stuff. And there's people, I'm not gonna say who they are, behind the scenes that's kind of come at me, not come at me, but they really express a lot of the same sentiments kind of in between with how you say it, how you deliver it, and how Ramil has delivered it, where it's like, okay, we got a part of this manosphere that does that. Now it's time to expand it. And I'm gonna tell you this, the manosphere will never be able to expand like it needs to until we start expanding the different topics. But the manosphere needs to start talking. I'm not, it doesn't gotta be the productivity thing, but goddamn, fitness, sports, other shit other than the women argument. Now, some people will come along and say, okay, well, that's just the women trying to tell you what not to do. My channel is going to exist. As far as the culture war stuff. I may create other channels, but this channel will exist. People are never going to not talk. I'll say this and I'll end it this way. The biggest promoter of black female fuckery is black women. So that ain't gonna stop.
Right.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna respond to some of these comments. All right, so let's go through some of these comments. Any other words? I know you ain't got all day to be on here, but I definitely wanted you. And that's another thing. I'm gonna start doing more shit with like you, Triz, all of that, MOT. So because see if I can get Sub-Zero on these things because I've had back and forth conversations with him with the woman thing too. I had a conversation with him like over a year ago. So this stuff has been said. So I really wanted to let you know you ain't like the only one that thinks that. I get what they're saying, but still, that doesn't invalidate what you're saying. And what happens is, and this is one thing I've always said about SYSBM that makes them no different than pro-blacks and stuff like that. You can't say you're free thinking black men, and when somebody presents a logical argument, you want to try to think you're using logic to try to shut that shit down and think you all are going to use numbers to override that. Like when I made the argument about the hyper individualism shit, people try to logically free think their way out of that shit. And I was like, no, that is true. Like when it comes to networking and stuff like that, and SYSBM used to sell itself on that. So that's why I always found it funny when people was talking about, oh, SYSBM is about a group. No, it's not. Not necessarily, but this is just constructive criticism. It is what it is. You can take it, you don't take it. So let me see, because you got people saying some different shit in the comments, and I get all that. I don't agree with everything y'all saying, but it is what it is. So if you want to spend like another 10-15 minutes, we go through this real quick, and then
hold on, let me holler at something real quick, because this is the thing.
Yeah.
Lost black. I'll say it that way because I literally deal with this in the real world, and since I've been dealing with YouTube, having dudes hit me up and ask me certain questions that they dad should be telling them, or that they big brothers or they uncle should be telling them. So because I know for sure there's young lost black men out here, and if we talk about caring about save yourself black men, technically that is a form of a community. So we need to be giving proper info. Proper info is directly relative to what resources you have, more so than what women you deal with or don't deal with. So I guess what I'm saying is I would like to see more push in the manosphere in general towards talk about those actualities. Like I want to see more, like, no, not to call them out, but I genuinely want to know more of what MOT is doing as far as like his business shit and setting that up. And I know that's a hard game because people want the ratchet shit. They want the wild entertainment stuff, the yelling and the beefing. I get it. It's entertaining to a certain degree, and the other business stuff is less exciting. At least for me, talking about videography work and being able to kind of show you how I'm at different events with different people and kind of low key stun. And here's me in a different country. I understand that that's attractive. I understand the psychology of the people I'm dealing with. You got to attract them with something that's kind of glamorous. Videography is good for that because you can kind of, stunt a little bit. But I'm trying to think of how do you reel in and bait in young minds to really make various independent business sort of things more sexy, more glamorous, so they latch onto that versus just being on some pussy hound shit. Like, how do we cultivate that?
Oh,
That's
well,
just a
shit. I
general
don't.
question.
I'm sorry. I don't worry about that. I mean, I focus on the people. The people that show up is who the fuck you focus on. You can put out the message. I would say this. Don't worry. Now, I can show you plenty of people that do kind of what you do as far as content creating that way, and they got bigger channels, but they're in other sectors. But see, they don't deal with just black people. But here's the thing. I would say this. Don't so much worry about focusing on like, and I'm talking about this in general, anybody. Don't worry about necessarily views when it comes to that's not what you're saying, but I'm just saying this. Don't be like, okay, I know this video is got some really high value information about maybe what they need to focus on videography, what are the potential things with videography, and a great channel that's a great example of that is Sub-Zero's channel. Sub-Zero has a lot of examples of different industries and stuff people can get into, and they're not done from a view standpoint. And by the way, he actually interviews people in those industries. Like actually, when it came to the expedited freight game, that's probably one of the best videos. And I can tell you a lot of non-black people go to that video where he was talking about the expedited freight game, interviewing somebody as to what they do, somebody that he sees, that he knows. And that's some shit that if you may not want to do trucking, you could do that. and it's a lot less hurdles to get into. MOT knows about that. Erica knows about that. But the point is, put the videos out there, and the people that's gonna find it are gonna find it, and that content can always be reconstituted in like a blog post and stuff like that. Like maybe I take the content, somebody else may take the content, and then obviously not take it, isn't download it, but embed it. But that's the first thing. Second thing too is help who wants to show up. Those people that are showing up, they are outwardly seeking your stuff, so it makes sense to invest the time into them, or at least invest the knowledge, because they've shown at least enough, propensity to find you and ask you the question. But as far as me trying to convince folks that they need to do what the fuck they need to do, yeah, I tell them about what the information is as far as where the future is going, but you can't make them drink the water. You can't. Now, there's ways to increase the exposure and shit like that, and we need to focus on that. I've had ideas about that, but for right now, it's like the people that show up, those are the people that get the help.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I guess kind of what I was asking, not even a direct question to you, just a direct question overall to what is going to save Black folks, period, is how do we change the overall culture to that of skills and resources versus just bickering and fighting and relationship romance, yeah, just in general. And then how on a micro level that applies to here on YouTube. Like this, literally the fight that I'm fighting on an everyday basis. Plus, it's actually good for business for me, because the more people who think about, the more Black business that is spawning, that is generating, they're going to need marketing. It is self-serving to a certain degree,
well,
but it's good too.
And I'll say this too. You have to, it's also one of those things you're already a perfect example of how to do it first. And I'm not even talking what you do off of YouTube. I'm talking about you meeting people face to face. That's something most of these content creators are not doing. But O'Shea did it too. So that already separates yourself from everybody else, because there's a certain type of credibility you can have. You're like, look, man, you see me as I am. Ramil has seen me. Solo see me, because Solo was doing that too. And so that gives you Minister Jat was doing that. Even so that gives you a certain amount of credibility that a lot of these dudes can't have. Look, as far as I'm concerned, they can say what they want to say, and it's definitely relevant for them to say it, but the audience is going to draw conclusions the way they're going to draw it. And people that they can see, or they can see is social with other people. This is why when Black people get mad, what they always want to go to, let's see your face, let's see the acronym, let's see all that. Because at the end of the day, that's what drives a lot of them. But I want to make it very clear, I'm about you doing you and what's in your best interest. And I'm about you asking that question. But that does not necessarily mean that you have to reflect that on, okay, well, fuck these people, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, at some point, you're going to have to do you. Sorry, I'm in like a fucking hallway.
No, it's all good. Go ahead. You go ahead and holler at some of these comments. I'll chime in on some of them too if you want.
Yeah. So I mean that's really what it is. This is going to be a continuing conversation. Maybe we get another panel. I think one of the Igmores, they done figured out how to combine Hangouts with StreamYard. So I got to talk to them about how the fuck to do that, because that will definitely make it so I can get back. We can get back to the 8 shit. Even though less is more, but the fuckery still, that should be another thing I do. And the fuckery continues. That's how I'm about to talk about the stupid shit. But yeah, it's just a whole world out there. And again, I'm not saying what these guys are not doing. That's not what I'm saying, because I think the way the manosphere has become, it's become this thing for people to kind of plug in, to kind of really just what GA was saying. That's true. Now here's the thing. We can say all these things on some constructive criticism shit. That does not mean, oh, here comes the wannabe niggas that want to get you back. That does not mean that. Like, doesn't mean people are changing. That means that certain criticisms can be acknowledged. Doesn't mean that means I'm gonna do what the fuck they say to do, the way they say to do it. And people, it's like people can't walk and chew gum. But anyway, let me go through a couple.
It should be still sharp and still, right? Like I want my video colleagues, I want them to say, nah, bro, the way you did that, I want somebody to show me. I want a man who's on my level, a peer. If I'm falling off, I want him to be like, bro, now you slipping right there. You know what I mean? Like that's how we get better, right?
Yes. And that's what people, and that's one of the main drivers behind why I wanted to do this video with you, is because I'm like, that's all you were doing. And their thing is, no, man, fuck you trying to
want to fight. I'm like, nah, I'm not trying to fight you. I actually care about the overall outcome of I guess not the community, but these young black
Well,
boys who will
everything, and
build the
even with the
community
black
later.
boy, and even with the black boy shit. I mean, I help little dude. I help black people, but at the same time, I'm gonna do that when that makes sense for me. And I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about everybody's gonna do that. So it's this idea that people don't do it. It is what it is, because people try to, because they want you to do shit on their terms. And that's different between you doing it when it makes sense for you. And that's not what you're saying. But see, they're trying to perceive that as that's what you were trying to say. And so when you start, oh, here you go with the black boy shit, you trying to bring me back to, no, that's not what you were saying. But what you were saying is at some point you all want to promote this thing. What are you promoting then?
Right. The overall impact, who's going to hear this information, how it's going to actually apply in their lives. What is the most probable likelihood of young black men encountering SYSBM? Is it going to result in them focusing more on women and interracial dating, or is it going to result in them focusing more on building skills and resources? What's more likely? That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. And my thing is, can I honestly say that if a black dude was coming at me saying, well, what's something I can follow, that's going to help me basically improve myself? I'm asking myself, what are the SYSBM channels?
Whoa, that's a great way you just framed that. So a young dude who's looking for resources online, black men building barbershop talk style. What are the top 3 to 5 channels you would list? That's an interesting thing. That should be a video topic that everybody does. Like name your top 5 resource channels. So just off top, I'm thinking Kevin Samuels has some interesting stuff like Brain Trust. I mean O'Shea. I mean, because there's the entertainment, there's the nigga shit, but also he is plugging in cats on business shit. That's how I've found out about Erica, Andre Hatcher, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a very, very interesting point you just made. That's like a whole discussion in and of itself, but that's
Well, yeah, and that's
pertinent to this
why
topic right now. Go
that's
ahead.
why you hear me when I promote Glenn and Cameron, because and in fact, I need to do a whole list of channels like that, because there's a whole
Right,
list.
Glendon too, exactly.
And so but see, people don't, and look, when you, and that's not to diss these other channels, but these other channels are not doing shit from a tactical standpoint. They're not like how to fix your credit, how to do this, what industry can you get into based on maybe you got a situation that you ain't got a lot of money, but you really want to do something. What certifications can you get? Who is good at what? That stuff is not aggregated. All it is if you go to most of SYSBM channels, you are gonna get an education. And like even BGS, like this is why I like BGS, because BGS gives you a lot of the history behind it in bite-sized pieces. But and he's breaking down a lot of relevant information. But I would argue you need to go no further than like a BGS Igmore channel for all of that, because the way he's gonna frame it is not a way that's gonna consume you. It's gonna be in a way that allows you to kind of say, okay, this is important for me to know these things coming down the pike. But at the end of the day, that's like the stuff, that's like as far as the SYSBM stuff, I would tell people to go, because he gives you the history behind it, the books, how this stuff correlates to where we are today as a community. He helps you kind of enlighten where your environment is and how it came to be that, in a way that's kind of like not constantly on that. Because he also talks about stuff like the coronavirus, stuff like that. Like, shout out this Patreon. And like I said, man, you got people like Ramil, Carl the Tactician, that's saying some really good stuff, but that's the metric by which people need to be looking at. It's not even about boys. We always talk about the boy thing. It's about people that's our age. Most of my following is my age or older, actually. Like,
Right.
actually, most of mine is like between 24 and 35, and then 35 and 40, 44. A smaller percentage is young dudes, but I've had dudes come out of their way and say this too. But dudes that are like in their early 20s, they need to know how to move through this world. They know bitches ain't shit, or they're doing what they're doing already. They don't need nobody to tell them it's okay to do it.
Right.
All right, so one thing I did want to address real quick before I end this, shout out to Jessica, shout out to Sister George. One of the, a lot of this, again, a lot of this stuff, this conversation is all this gender conversation is always about, black men dealing with black women and all that. The problem the biggest thing that I would say SYSBM needs to pull from what we said in this video today is you are arguing this shit on a black female's terms. You do realize that, right? Because women are telling you what you should do, and you're constantly arguing with them as to why you shouldn't, rather than just living your life. And yeah, you make the points when the points need to be made, but there is a business of actually doing the shit. And if you do more showing than telling, that actually does more damage to their argument, because at that point they have to then reciprocate.
Wow. Well said.
So I'm not telling you, like I'm gonna tell you, like I tell anybody that's younger than me, or people that I manage. I'm not telling y'all what the fuck to do. I'm telling y'all to be smarter about how you do it.
Right.
Now, if you want to be dumb, the stupid games win stupid prizes, and I leave that up to you. So anyway, I'll let you get the final thought.
No, that's beautiful how you said it. So, like, if you have these tenets, you have a particular agenda. It's about how you're executing that. Or, I mean, don't blur your message. Like, I'm a pretty smart guy, so if I can look at this stuff and look at the founder of this stuff and say, your messages seem a little bit skewed. It seems like you're saying this, the tenants say this, but then you're showing this imagery, you're showing this. But what I'm not seeing is, how do you get to this? Somebody in the comments said that MBD is, you know, driving trucks and doing some trucking type stuff. Okay, let's hear like about that, or at least 50% or more about how you did that. So, you know, we got to think about the young guys and guys all the way up to my age who are still trying to figure out how to, you know, hack this world and hack this life, how to make some moves. Like, let's talk about how to make the moves so you can actually exercise those options to date other women. You know what I mean? Like, if you just keep it on the women, you just gonna have some other broke ass dudes still living on their mama couch worrying about interracial dating. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, absolutely. So I'll end it with this quick note. I was on Solo TV 84. Shout out for him to let me on it. I was on it just like a couple weeks ago. You might have been on there actually. Like as far as in the chat, it was Ramil on there too, and he brought and then what happened was not Ramil, a dude by the name of Minority Nomad, Passport Heavy. You'll love Passport. Do you know Passport Heavy?
Yeah, I've heard of Passport Heavy.
You need to check that out from videographer standpoint. Black man traveler. Oh, you'll love that shit. But Minority Nomad is a great dude. You know, he makes money traveling. As far as like he's been interviewed, BBC, all that shit. Anyway, his channel's a really good channel. He's a very accessible person. So
you said Passport Heavy was on Solo TV's.
No. This is Minority Nomad, not Jabril. Jabril is pretty much travel / internet marketing.
Somebody told me that dude Jabril was in Oakland or like posted up out here doing content out here.
Yeah, I could definitely see. I mean, Jabril is from Chicago. He's an accessible guy, but Minority Nomad is really, really accessible. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jabril didn't stop by some of the stuff. But I don't know if Solo's channel is that big yet, because them videos cost $30,000 for him to make, like per video, and they're like 10-minute videos. That's what he said. But anyway, Minority Nomad asked they were talking about SYSBM, and they wanted me to explain what SYSBM is. And explaining what SYSBM was, I explained it, but I told him, I said real talk. I told him straight up that Passport folks and SYSBM need to be separate and remain separate. And the reason why I said that is because a lot of these issues SYSBM has not fixed yet. And they act like they don't want to fix it, or it's nothing that needs fixing.
Right.
And I'm like, if you feel that way, then it's like, it is what it is. People are going to adjust and do what they want to do at the end of the day.
BGS just said the biggest downfall of black men is picking the wrong women. BGS, would you consider the idea that one of the biggest downfalls of black men is not having skills to be able to have their own resources? I'm curious to know your thoughts on that. Because I would say that isn't that precursory to even what women you even deal with? Because I know broke ass raggedy dudes that have no skills who are picking the right and the wrong women.
Yeah, I don't know how long BGS was listening, but we've had these conversations back and forth years ago. Like at the end of the day, I'm very aware that the zeitgeist in a gynocracy, the women, I understand how prevalent the women is. I get that. But at some point you have to turn the page and move forward. You can't be mired in the past. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's just like in the business that I deal with, at the end of the day, you have to contact people in this business. If you can't get the mindset to contact people, you're not in the game. So I guess to the extent of what Ramil is, I mean, not Ramil, what Am1 is talking about, if you can't get to the point where you can't accept where you are and then turn the page and move forward, then I guess you haven't gotten the martial arts belt necessary to even have the conversation with Ramil, Am1. And so we'll leave it there, I guess, because it's not my job to fix your ass. Just like how I say ain't my job to fix sisters. It's your job to have enough common sense to understand that you need to do what's in your best interest. And I know BGS speaks to that. Once you do that, then come talk to me and come talk to Am1. How about that? And if you can't do that, then you stay where you at, you know. But and by the way, Glenn and Cameron said that as well. And as far as the skills thing, I understand that, yes, skills are part of it. If you have skills and you still on the same, like, gynocratic shit, yes, you're going to do the same shit. But my job, the lane that, I'll say this. Some people have the lane to want to deprogram you from a mindset standpoint. Other people want to have the lane to help you as far as getting the ability to control your situation. Those are both admirable. Glenn and Cameron focuses on how you can get your shit together. Right. Am1 wants to focus on how you get your shit together. Right. That is, in my opinion, more needed. We have enough people.
That's the thing. I don't think that's a matter of opinion from an objective world standpoint. How is that an opinion?
There's enough channels that are about telling you what black women are doing. And it's ironic because I said, did I not just say that if you're going to listen to any of the channels, BGS probably should be the one you listen to on that? I just said that. But if you're looking at 10 to 15 channels and I see 13 of them are basically bitches ain't shit, okay, unless you're showing me that you're doing some shit, I'm gonna make an assumption about that. Sorry, you know, unless you can, like, it's different if you showing me, like, you know, like MOT, all right, I'm doing trucking and I'm doing that and this is what I'm listening to, but I'm on my way, kind of like on some kind of dance stuff, then fine, obviously you're doing something. But if you ain't doing shit and that's all you listening to, that's a legitimate question to ask. Okay, what are you doing?
Hold on. I know you're trying to appeal out, and I got to appeal out too, but Son of a Panther says, if the women in your culture don't support you, you are at a severe disadvantage. And my reply to that was, all the more reason to have your shit together. Right? Like, what the fuck?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, y'all, it sounds like people want to say, because there's two different conversations. Are we having a conversation about getting the women on the same page with the men, or which SYSBM is actually not about? Or are we having a conversation about black men understanding that you have no friends, including your women?
Right. That's a simple thing. If you have no friends, what you need to be real friendly with is fucking skills and resources, or you're going to be at the mercy of other men too. Right?
Yeah. And that's another thing too. A lot of guys that go SYSBM, what they do is they do, and I'm not saying everybody does this, but they do go into other groups. And this is why I've always promoted Xanathos Clutch is a good example of what SYSBM is to Donovan Sharp, because they maintain their autonomy in a lot of these situations. They don't sit there. It's kind of like how, you know, black women will be strong and independent except for white men. Even white men, they got more money than, and they're superior to. Why? Because they're trying to apply to being in that group. I'm not saying that's what all SYSBM guys are doing, but what I'm saying is, once you become a mercenary, once you become like a mercenary, a double agent, that's what you are. You know, like I said, black men ain't got no friends. And a lot of people try to say, well, you got friends here. No, it doesn't work that way. And if you can't, and I get what BGS is saying, but if you can't get to the point where you don't free your mind, then at that point, it ain't no point you having a conversation with me, because you're gonna be saying the same stupid shit over and over and over and over again. And that goes whether you want to be a MAGA or whether you want to be a dude that's perpetually just trying to blame everybody for something, for your own personal situation. Because my thing, and I told Obsidian this, and then I'm dipping. I asked Obsidian, what black women are so bad, why do you still deal with them? You know what Obsidian said?
What did he say?
Because I want to. And I'm like, okay, so what's the fucking conversation then at this point?
Right.
Now to be fair to Obsidian, he did say he hasn't dealt with a black woman in Philly in 20 years, even though he lives there, which I don't know how that makes sense. But hey, so he doesn't deal with them in Philly. But my point is, at some point, at some point it just comes down to common fucking
Wait,
denominator.
hold on. See, this is priceless. Son of a Panther again. Even if you have your shit together, the enemy will use your women against you, i.e., the BAW. Now, that's absolutely true. The enemy will weaponize everything against you. But would you rather have them weaponize everything against you and you have no skills and you broke? Or would you rather have some fucking skills? Come on, this is just pure logic and strategy. Come on.
Because dude, it's kind of like saying, okay, it's about freedom of movement. Like you can choose how you engage, you can choose how you move if you have skills. For instance, let's say I'm I'm not saying to be an electrician, but let's say I'm an electrician. Most black people would say, okay, you're an electrician, you can get work here. They're not thinking about, okay, you can own your own small contractorship in electricity and make money, or getting contracts, or you can go overseas and do that shit and make hella money in different environments where those skills are more needed. You have freedom of movement. So even if those things are true, it's kind of like saying, well, there's landmines, so I should just not deal with it till we fix the landmines. No, you can get a fucking plane because you can deal with different dimensions.
Well, let's try another analogy. So
And
you gotta fight Anderson Silva. You gotta fight some legendary fighter, whoever it is. You gotta fight Mike Tyson. Would you rather fight Mike Tyson with no boxing training, or would you rather have some boxing training, aka skills? Would you rather fight with skills or no skills?
But here's the thing: you're not saying like don't have skills but be stupid on women. You never said that. In fact, you said just don't fuck with women like that. Like just
wait,
like
Son of a Panther. How old are you? Because I'm 41. When you get older, you'll realize that this race is unequal for us. I already know all of that. That's my point in trying to tell younger dudes half my age who are asking me these questions have skills. Like, again, would you rather have zero? Yeah, we the same age, Son of a Panther. Would you rather have zero skills to be able to combat the situation, or would I can't even believe I have to say it. Never mind.
but another thing too, Am1, is you see a lot of people forget you came in here saying that, well, maybe y'all need to take a break from pursuing women as much as you do. And by the way, Glendon has said that. I've heard a lot of black men that were homeless say that too. When they were homeless and they got out of being homeless and then they make money, they all say that. To a certain, they may not highlight it over and over and over again, but they do say it. And
when you work for yourself, your time becomes that much more valuable, and how you deal with women becomes that much more conservative.
So the answer to see what a lot of people are trying to frame it like is they're trying to frame it like you still need to play the game of dealing with women, but like you can never take a break from the game. You can take break from. I don't understand why black men have this like this repulsion of saying, dude, you can take 90 days and stop fucking. It's okay. You can take 6 months and stop like worrying about what the fuck are you gonna do this weekend. A lot of black men do it. They try to call those dudes incels. I'm not saying some of them aren't, but you got niggas that they will rather fuck fat bitches and not talk about it and be depressed about that shit than to take a fucking break. That's the craziness. So it's kind of like y'all want to stay in this. BGS, nobody's saying. I mean, in order to get skills, it starts with the mind because that's discipline. It's not like we're just downloading skills at the aspect, but dudes are not waking up and dying thinking about females. That's not, I mean, yes, we think about sex, but it ain't like that. It ain't like if I'm not thinking about women, I can't be thinking. Humans are multidimensional, so nobody's telling you to not be smart. I mean, like I said, I told people you need to go to your channel to get smart as far as females, but outside of that, you got. If I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of black men did this, but if you waste a decade and the only thing you could think of you did in that fucking decade is you were just chasing bitches, you fucked up in your 20s. Like let's keep that all the way real. And as far as the mindset, nobody is saying that the channels that exist now don't need to exist. But what I'm saying is there needs to be other channels that need to deal with the other side of the coin. And it's kind of like people are saying, no, everything's got to be about black women. No. I can tell people, guess what? This is why I refer to people on BGS channel. A lot of the stuff that I talk about for references, I tell motherfuckers, you go to his channel and you fucking type in this search term. I ain't no point in me reinventing the fucking wheel. Just like with Glendon, I say if you want to date black women, he's got a video saying how to date black women in 2018. It's a very honest assessment as to how to date. He's got a video talking about how to date white women in 2019. How many videos in SYSBM have they actually said this is how you date black white women? You know when the first thing he says in that video, Am1? Don't fetishize white women. Stop calling them fucking snow bunnies. You need to look at them as women. But also, real talk, he tells the truth about black women, saying you have to have a level of masculinity in black women to date black women that would scare most non-black women. He tells the truth about it. It's an honest clinical assessment as to what you need to do. You don't get that in a manosphere. What you get is all these ad hominem. Well, you just need game. You just need to know how to talk to her.
It's a bunch of weird stuff. But this is the thing. A lot of these different ideas and opinions and concepts are not rooted in objective reality. So this is the interesting thing. Son of a Panther. Again, every comment is just gems to the degree that it's working in favor of the statements that I'm making. Skills will not save us, bruh. It's about the support of others. Village mentality. Now, let me just focus on that sentence right there. Village mentality. But a village is made up of people who are contributing to the village. And what are they contributing with? Skills. So we're back to, what do you have to offer a community? Bruh, what are you talking about? Like, I love it. Your statements are priceless because it's just helping me frame even more so. Skills will not save us. Well, then, whoa, what do you mean? The whole point of a village, of a community, is being made up of people who have value.
He can't be SYC. That's when you got to recognize too. He coming at it from a different angle. He can't be SY because SYSBM is about getting the fuck away. So what, you need support? Because the only support you're gonna get is from your people as a group. Black men as a group ain't gonna be able to go to other races. You're gonna have to develop that shit on your own. So
I'm just blown away. I'm blown away by the concept of men speaking against other men saying, go have some skills. Like, that's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is like elementary school shit. But hey,
that explains exactly why the wealth numbers, the disparities are where they're at. Like, that's a big, I mean, yes, we were set up for failure, but the fact that we've, I don't know, adorned that and accepted that, and we wear that like it's some kind of fresh fashion. And BGS
is right. Like, there are a million channels, but there's not that many channels of black men showing black men. They're dealing with the unique challenges black men have. That's why Glenn and Cameron's channel is so valuable.
And who have the reach for younger black men.
Exactly.
That's the trick
him
too.
And then that's why I push Erica's stuff, because there's not a lot of channels that really focus on us. You know, I'm about people getting information. That's why you don't see me pushing Boyce Watkins like that. So I get what people are saying. I'm not saying something needs to be absent of. See, and you notice how the stuff that keeps coming back is this constant, it's this same shit, which is kind of ignoring what's being said to still push it. And that's education. And this is why I told you, Am1, you have to focus on people that are like-minded or that are showing up to you, because what happens is if you sit here and you trying to convince motherfuckers of shit, then this, and I don't mean keep bringing up Ramil, but this is why Ramil's like, man, you niggas are stupid. This is why you do that, because it's like you know what you saying is common sense, and it's like, shit, you niggas ain't no better than the bitches.
Well, part of it is when you see yourself, because there is a bit of seeing yourself in other black men, because there is some sort of a unity type situation, a la the village statement brother just made. So when you start seeing a lot of brothers around you your age just on some raggedy shit, just on some lost shit, that shit gets frustrating after a certain point. Like, nigga, what the fuck, figure this shit out, let's get down.
Oh, when I say like-minded, I mean like-minded with other black men. I mean, I deal with all, here's the thing, I deal with all people, but I do have an extra focus on if I got black men that are like-minded.
Wait, hold on, this is beautiful. I almost think this person is like Son of a Panther. Every comment you make is gems in favor of what I'm saying. Let's go with your skills. Who are you marketing your skills to? You need someone to utilize your skills on/with. Yes, that's my point. Most of the videography and motion graphic design work that I do is for black businesses, like 80%. And I want to make it to where it's 100%. I really want to build a whole multimedia firm, and if I can employ high percentage Black folks and be able to put more of that out there into the world for
Yeah, I
Black
mean,
people.
son of a panther
And
wants to be right. That's what that is. Because even in that sense, this is the same thing the females had an issue with dude that owns Shea
this
Moisture.
is amazing here. Like,
But
yeah,
people
okay, so
don't
I'm being,
understand.
it's like they think he thinks he's trolling, but he's actually saying stuff
Yeah,
that works in favor of what
businesses
I'm
are
saying.
not. See, this is how Black people perceive businesses. They perceive businesses are only supposed to deal with Black people. Yes, sometimes that's necessary, but truth is, as a business, your goal is to sell to everybody, and then put the resources back into Black people. That's how you do it. So most of your businesses, you think Jewish businesses only serve Jewish people? No, the Jewish people tell you that's fucking stupid. You sell to everybody, and then on the low, the people that have the ownership are them, and they control where the money goes. Same thing with Koreans. Do Koreans only sell hair to Koreans? Hell no. They sell it. Do nails? No. Half that shit they do for us.
Right.
But they're the ones that control the money and the businesses and stuff. But see, Black people don't see that. Black people see business and money as some fucking emotional validation shit. And as you see, a lot of the dudes operate, and this is not me beating up on anybody, but this is to really start to distill what is and what isn't. And here's the thing: remember this video. Now you've left Black women. Now what? So when y'all see these women here, oh, y'all about to make the turn. And this was ironic. BGS ignore. I had to unfriend a lot of people because you got dudes that openly come at him just because he created a BGS for Women's channel. Now he did that only because number one, there was a lot of people that listened to him, even though his message wasn't geared to him. He's happy that they're there, and two, because he knew how it was with the dudes. So he did that. So he said, I'm gonna let the dudes rock how they rock because I'm not gonna change what the dudes are gonna do for women that want to kind of be there. So let's give them their own space so they can have their own opinion, and he'll be there. Maybe a dude or two will be there if he invites them, and it is what it is. Now that actually used to be open-ended, but what happened is a lot of the dudes, and I was one of the main ones, started being a little too much opinionated over there, so it started turning their man channel. So he locked that out and made it so the women can have their own space. He did that from a practicality standpoint. So now you got these other niggas, these new niggas coming in here to, oh, BGS ain't real, because their perception of real is fuck Black women no matter what. I do not see a
That's
Black
stupid.
female and the first thing I say is fuck that bitch. No, Black women get an honest shot. They treat me how they gonna be treated. Now, if they talk to me like they got some sense or they got common sense, they get that back. And by the way, let me tell you something. I used to get more heat from white women than Black women because I didn't take shit from a white. This is funny. I'm actually the opposite. This idea that white women get to pull their attitude on me and Black women don't. Oh hell no! I gave Black women hell of a lot more rope, and I still to this day than I give white females. Cause that coy bullshit that you think you gonna pull that shit on me, I used to, like, a lot of older white women used to get real mad at me because they expected like me as a Black man or as a non-white person to give them a certain amount of like decorum. So their little slick shit, they were expected that I would let them get away with that shit. And I wasn't looking for no fight, but if they said something to me, they would get a response back. And I made it very clear that, their little, I'm upset. There was no fucks given on that. And they particularly did not like that because they're like, at the end of the day, they will fall back in their mind. And I know it was because I know the posture of I'm white. And I'm like, and they don't like that. When it comes down to, especially when you're dealing with older white women, younger white women, it just depends on what the fuck they on. But older white women, especially, they fall back into that I'm white shit, which you can't even delineate them from white men that are racist. And that Kobe situation showed that out real good. But anyway, so we had this. So we had to after it was supposed to be over. After it's supposed to be over.
I know, right?
I know. What the fuck he say this time? I did a commercial real estate deal with white dude. By the way, commercial real estate for dummies. That's a Black man that's running that. Very good dude. Y'all should check that out. With the white dude who used his mama and daddy money to finance. Exactly. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
And then check out the comment after that. Skills is cool, but without a group in this modern era, you chasing everybody else. Yes, and I'm saying we should have a group of like-minded people. Like the culture of so-called Black America, Black community needs to be about skills and resources. That's the community we need.
SYSBM. See, this is what happens when people don't listen. Because SYSBM, it like first of all, a group can be anything. A group can be investors. Just because he had his mom and daddy don't mean you can't. First of all, ain't nobody stopping you from talking to the nearest pastor and getting something broken the fuck off. Ain't nobody stopping you from doing that. You just got to know how to tap your group. See, the problem is other groups are more organized than we are in aspects to that. So we look at the easiest thing. Whoa, well, my mom and my daddy did that. Well, most Black people can't go to their parents to do that shit. Let's just keep that real. Also, the biggest issue, if we're gonna put our pro-Black hats on, the biggest issue that the Black community has as a fucking community is we don't invest in each other. What does that mean? We don't even have a market. We're not even a consensus market, aka we buy from each other to the point that we can legislate other people's actions based on economics. All this shit that the females keep talking about, well, I need Black men to stay, they only focus on celebrities and a lot of celebrities because their money depends on a lot of Black women supporting them. They ain't got nothing for a lot of these businessmen because their money doesn't depend on that. So this comes back to the Black community has to make it worthwhile for Black men to want to fucking be in it. And it's not about, just saying it's a group for group's sake. We have to start buying shit from each other. Perfect example. Take gender out of it. Why don't Black women always get their hair done by other Black women? You would think that would make sense just as much as Black men getting their hair cut from Black men. You know why? Because it's not only Black women that they can go to. It's not mostly Black women they can go to. They can go to other groups and get their money. That's Black women in a situation with only them. Now, you look at that in reverse with Black men, that's not true. It's most of your barbers are going to be fucking Black. A Black male. It's not even that many Black females that actually cut hair. There's some. It's very rarely is non-Black. So you see how that works? So again, you're talking this shit, but you haven't mapped out the tactical real world practicality, because real world, Am1, you're already doing that. You dealt with a group. When you part of dealing with a group is networking. You do that as far as your business. You did that with Erica, with Ramil, with Sub-Zero. You meeting them face to face is better than having a phone call conversation. Having a phone call conversation is better than talking to these motherfuckers online. But they don't do that. They just throw some shit out there because really it's designed to shut shit down and not absorb and understand the context by which somebody's saying. God damn, it's like you niggas don't understand shit unless somebody yells at y'all and tell y'all ain't shit. That's why O'Shea does it. Fuck. Anyway.
Yeah, I know, man. It's the energy it takes to even talk about this shit is like, it gets crazy dealing with Black folks that either get it but act like they don't want to get it, or they don't get it because they just really don't get it. Like it's a hard game. I understand the frustration, but at the same time, when it all boils down to it, look, I don't even have to worry about none of this shit. I ain't got to worry about Black men my age, other women, all that. Like I'm out here living and winning off of the exact type of principles that I speak about. I'm a walking example of it. And regardless of what y'all niggas do, I'm going to keep winning. So y'all can either take the information I put out or not. If you want to argue with me, cool. Then you keep doing what you do. I wish you the best. But if we're going to talk community, or we're going to talk just saving Black men, whatever, here's a Black man that's giving tips on how to make it work. And I'm winning. And I'm winning more, and gonna be winning more next year and the year after that, the decade after that. So why not soak some free game? I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I hope you definitely got to kind of communicate this point. I'm definitely gonna share this video. I see shit Jessica's saying. Jessica, you need to you need to you got this. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna leave this. The problem with Black people is they have their own, they're dealing with two issues. Number one, three issues. They're either in denial, they're either ignorant, or they have their own agenda. They're hiding behind other agendas. And this is why they get upset about the interracialism charge that people would charge to SYSBM, which I don't give a fuck. Like I tell them straight up, if that's what it is, then that's what it is. I've never expected SYSBM to be a problem solving thing. I just never gave it all of that. But on the flip side, Jessica, you keep coming back to. I say this all the time. Most black women are pro-black because they're pro-policing black dick. What they're attracted to being pro-black is they're attracted to a mechanism to regulate black men outside of you earning your men. And when I say earning your men, it needs to make sense for a black man as to why to fuck with you, meaning you need to be a fucking asset. That man is there. If a black man is, if you fucking with a black man, you clearly know why you're fucking with him. Even if you're not fucking with him, all the men around you, there's a service that they provide to you, whether it's emotional, economic, doing your fucking homework. Because I know a lot of black men that do papers for pussy. Don't act like that shit still doesn't go on. All this black women most educated bullshit. But there's not a lot of dudes that are there that there's not, even if they're toxic relationships, there's still something that you gravitate to want to be in that relationship, right? Whether it's good dick or whatever. That's the same for black men too. If the only reason a bitch is there is because she's pussy, then she, as far as I'm concerned, she's a bitch. Because guess what? Your pussy is just like a barrel of oil. I'm looking at as for what the stock market is. And maybe all dudes don't think that way, but a lot of dudes think that way. And here's the thing. If I'm putting a price on your pussy, imagine what black men are doing that can easily get it. Do you know how much it costs to get water in a grocery store? Where I'm at, I can get 35 bottles for $2.49. You know why? Because it's plentiful. You know how much it costs to get gasoline in an area like Iran or Saudi Arabia? Like 37 cents a gallon. You know why? Because it's plentiful. So for dudes that pussy is plentiful, the dudes that you all tend to want, pussy ain't worth shit. That's what y'all don't understand. And so when you come back to, well, yeah, all that group shit is great, but, you know, you have to fuck me. You know, that's how you sound when you say that. You know, well, all these other dudes are not spreading their cheeks. That's a goddamn lie. White men do that shit more than any other race of men. White men stay fucking Asian bitches. They stay fucking Eastern European bitches. Black men are probably the most race loyal. Outside of Asian men, black men are probably the most race loyal of all races of men. And Hispanics kind of don't count because they're not really a race. They're really a conglomerate. So they get to fuck white and still call it Latina because they speak Spanish. So that don't count. But even amongst them. So again, you have people that want to push their own agendas. I'm not for that, but just because I'm not for that doesn't mean we not gonna talk about this real shit you talking about, Am1. Don't think, and see, that's a problem. Everybody, oh, you just trying to get black men to fuck black women. Dude, fuck who you want. But at the end of the day, I'm still talking about this shit. That shit doesn't negate this shit. So stop running to like the shit Jessica said and try to make what I'm saying what she's saying, because that's not what the fuck I was saying. And that's for everybody that will try to use that. Anyway. All right, man, because I gotta do some shit, man. I'm glad, I'm glad because I really want, and look, this is no diss to them. But when I was going back there after I hopped out, look, shout out to Sigma. Everybody was lit. It was so many people on there that wanted to come on there. But I'm like, look, man, everybody knows what the fuck we're talking about. And stop responding to criticism just by nuh-uh. That black bitch ain't shit, and you ain't gonna stop me from saying it. I'm not saying you ain't got to. Well, what are you saying then? Because that's the only thing I hear. It's that black bitch ain't shit, and everything else. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Right. But nigga, it's like when motherfuckers talk about Trump. Oh, have you seen what Trump did? I'm like, nigga, we was talking about basketball. But Trump, Nancy Pelosi ripped up that paper, man. How you know Kobe ain't dead because of Trump?
No type of focus. Oh, Jessica, you like that, right? Jessica's in here complaining about what black men are choosing to do and going and dealing with other racial groups. And I said, hey, go talk to the ratchet thought ass chicks and the ones who only want the dudes with the hood swag, and then get back at me.
Oh yeah, no. You know, I'm about to end at this. Jessica, let me tell you. Let me drop this thought bomb at you, because I deal with some chick. Like I don't date chicks as young as Jessica, because my youngest brother, is 23, and that shit looks goofy to me. Now that's my personal choice. That's not me judging anybody else, because you can be a 50-year-old dating a 23-year-old if you want to. Because in Latin culture, that's fine if you got the economics for it right. Well, if they fucking, they fucking. My point is, I'm gonna drop this bomb. These niggas would have nothing to say. That's why I asked Obsidian this direct question. I said, Obsidian, if it wasn't for black female fuckery, actually, no, that's not true. I asked Obsidian this question. This will come in the other question. I said, Obsidian, would you have any credibility to say anything about black women if black women weren't complaining about their own outcomes? If black women were fucking niggas, thuggos, and they weren't complaining about fucking thuggos, they were content. It was like, you know what, let that dude do what he does. I'm content. Kind of like on some Cardi B shit, Offset gonna cheat, let him cheat, you know what I'm saying? And they weren't complaining. I asked Obsidian, would you have a platform to stand on? He said no. So I'm gonna say that to say the same thing. If it wasn't for black female fuckery and how overt black female fuckery is, you wouldn't have things like SYSBM. All the shit that people try to say about these dudes would be valid, because y'all are not promoting the fuckery is covert. So it would be like our word versus your word. Black female fuckery is so overt right now, which is different than it's been. And maybe social media has contributed to that because it's easier access to it. But black women are so out of pocket right now that you making the argument about black people need to be with black people sounds fucking retarded. It sounds very self-serving, because you make it sound like dudes are just saying shit out of nowhere. BGS already asked you these questions. So it's kind of like, well, I understand that, but I only give a fuck about me and my situation. You live in California. You live in the epicenter and ground zero of black men having choices. At the end of the day, just like, I'm going to say this and I'm done. A white man does not really get to unilaterally say that a white woman will only fuck with a white man because of race. White men don't even get to say that. And white women wouldn't have jack shit if it wasn't white women wouldn't have jack shit if it wasn't for white men. They would have nothing if it wasn't for white men. So for black women to try to say that when most of what the fuck y'all got is off the dead bodies of black men, it makes no sense. For your personal situation, your ass should have moved to Atlanta to go to school. Cause maybe because based on how she sounds, I could see dudes giving her a shot. The problem is you in California. It's just you're in literally the fucking all-star game. You're in LA. You're not in the big leagues. You're in the fucking all-star game between LA and Miami, and LA is worse because LA is more expensive. Like, what the fuck? So when you keep talking about, well, black men should be with me, here's another thing, Jessica, you're not telling the truth about. When you say black men, you talk about the black men that make your pussy instantly wet. You're not talking about black men that maybe 10 years down the road, they may be thinking like Am1's thinking. So they may be on their $10 million shit. They may be on their Jabril shit. You ain't thinking about them niggas. You thinking about the athlete, the niggas that are popular in your school or the niggas around the way. Those are the only dudes you really give a fuck about. Because if that wasn't true, I know that's true. Because if that wasn't true, you wouldn't even be talking this shit. You wouldn't even be on here talking this shit because you wouldn't have a problem getting a dude.
She's just speaking from emotion, just reacting real quick. Like black women see black dudes dating out or hear about dudes saying they're gonna date out and then say, well, what about this, that, and the third, but refuse to call out and address the dumb shit other black women are doing. So they're ultimately adding fuel to the fire by not checking those women. Go check those other raggedy women who are making black men say, no, I don't want that. That's fucking up y'all brand.
Yeah.
Y'all go to the corner and sort that all out and then come get at us.
Black women are the biggest promoters of SYSBM and all of this shit.
Right.
And that's why, and that's another reason why I tell these guys that want to go like retarded on me. I say, Black female fuckery ain't going nowhere. They getting worse. Like, I'm still waiting for that term BGS keep talking about, because I just see these motherfuckers putting their head in their ass further and going gay and doing crazy. They say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just fucking with women. Fuck, getting beat up by other women. I get what BGS is saying, but I just see a lot of these chicks just doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on stupid. But maybe that's just me and my limited perspective. I will also, black female fucker ain't going nowhere. So these dudes act like they stop talking about it. Motherfuckers, the hot stove is gonna cool down. No. Just like with stepfatherhood. Guess what? Ain't a lot of dudes being a stepdaddy. But guess what? It's still a couple niggas that want to shoot they shot and they get the outcome they get, and they be like, well, nigga, you should have knew. It's kind of like dudes having kids. Like, dudes have kids and they say, I'm not empathetic. One dude tried to tell me I wasn't empathetic to the plight of a black man and him having child issues with child support and stuff like that. I said, nigga, I get it, and I'm here to help you solve it, because I'm telling you, y'all need to vote Republican. Trump already done cut fucking his earned income credit, which a lot of people are finding out. So don't say shit ain't getting done. But guess the fuck what? You knew what the fuck you were doing when you skeeted in that bitch. You knew what Russian roulette table you were running. And most of the bitches I fuck, I asked myself, I may not say yes, but I at least ask myself, would I want this bitch to have my kid? And if the answer is like a glaring fuck no, then usually I'm not fucking that bitch. If the answer is it depends on how good she look. But if it's a glaring fuck no, I'm not fucking. Like, this is why I don't fuck. I tell dudes I'll go incel before I fuck fat bitches, because I don't want no fat bitch baby nah mama. But niggas don't believe that. Now, going back to the Jessica Light shit, Jessica, I'm gonna say this because that ain't even about her. One thing, Ashley W used to be kind of like what Danielle on Concrete was doing way before. And she, she's all right chick from Chicago. She had like over 15,000 subscribers. She was one of these, and she's still cool, but she was one of these, you can talk to her. But what she fucked up was where she started, and this is going back to what you were talking about, Am1 and skills. Because she black women, and this is another video I might want to do with you too, about blue collar skills. Black women have a certain disdain for black men that are blue collar. It's something about them where they believe that that's a black man that's beneath them, because they're looking at black men very one-dimensionally. So when they talk about we need to build, we need to do all that shit, understand, I've heard that before, and that's just a call in the arms for the niggas they want to fuck. All of that is sexual politicking, because real talk, when it comes down to dudes that, number one, literally know how to build. When you're in blue collar, that's a good gateway into real estate. Blue collar could be plumbing, right, electrician. It could be a lot of shit. They can make money, and white dudes do blue collar, but for some reason they have, by the way, that's where the majority of actual masculinity that they love is. But they have some, and this is universal, where they have this elitist mindset. BGS can concur with this, to like blue collar black men. And it's like, most of y'all, that's the men y'all gonna get. And these are the men that have the body build that y'all be wanting. Because the white collar dude y'all always want to say is lame and educated. So do you even fucking have an archetype of a black man that y'all want to build with? No. Because you all expect building is, I fuck that nigga that I want to fuck, and then he magically turns into the nigga that I want to be, that I want to build with. Stop sleeping with frogs and expecting them to turn into princes.
Wow.
Fuck. And that's how I know it is. So I get it. She's young. She thinks I'm dismissing her, but I can show her the receipts. At the end of the day, Jessica, I know there's dudes, unless you ugly, I know there's dudes that want to fuck that you curbing. You probably got a cabinet full of motherfuckers you done curbed, and you mad you getting curbed by dudes are curbing you for that Latin bitch, because that Latin bitch got her. I'm gonna tell you, if Latin women don't teach their daughters shit, they teach their daughters how to get a man, and they make sure.
Wait. Listen to what Jessica just said. This comment: a lot of females that are gone. I'm trying to bring common ground to the young black women who do have potential. Okay, unfortunately, the brand of black women is in the fucking toilet to the degree that you're gonna have to go do a whole lot of backwards work first.
That's how much fucking up they've done. Like, if you think, I bet you, Jessica, if I tell you, think about a black woman, I bet you Tiffany Haddish is the first chick that comes to mind, or some shit like that. Like, or Cardi B. What is the first image you think about when I say black woman? And that tells you everything you need to know. And that's in everybody's brains. And by the way, black women's fault that shit is what it is more than anybody. I'm not saying it's only black women's fault, but that black women has been. And the point here is this: you're talking to somebody that deals with black women for the most part. At the end of the day, you got to earn your man. You got to earn the dude you want. This idea, if you want a nigga that's like an 8, 9, or 10, then you're going to have to compete. Now, I'm giving you some advice that you need to take your ass out of LA, because LA is one of the worst places to date for a black woman. I would say Seattle is like probably the one place is worse, because the competition level is crazy. You need to go to Atlanta. You need to go if you want to still have fun, or go to Houston. And I'm assuming you attractive, because if you ain't attractive, that shit ain't going to work.
Oh, so she comes with another cop out, because the black women with feminine qualities, but it seems like their best bet is to give up their best to other races, which is fucked up. No,
okay.
Basically, no. Hold on. What you need to do is go wrangle up all of these women with these good qualities, and you guys all go to war with the women who are ratchet, who are fucking up your brand. That's what you really need to do.
Now you're gonna get the other me. You know what? I'm gonna tell you, the black women that are feminine. If you all think you're feminine, and you all believe you can't get the dude that you want, so you want to go non-black, guess what? Be my guest. I'm telling you, if you can get a white man that's an 8, but you can only get a black man that's a 6 or 7, fuck black love. Fuck the race. Go be happy. Go be happy. I would never tell a black woman to settle for a black man just because of race. If you can get better non-black men, and I'm going to tell you, just so you don't think I'm bullshitting with your ass, if you got black women that are built like Iman, they're attractive in the face, but their body is shaped a certain type of way that non-black men tend to like more than black men, then you got to do what you got to do. And I know a lot of black women that are like that, and they don't hate black men. It was what it was. That's the difference between a swirler and an interracial dater. And by the way, Erica is on that. Erica has seen that situation in Austin. People are going to do what they're going to do, and I don't judge you for that. Now, the question is, can you do that? Because that's a narrative y'all put out there. Black women are feminine. Get the fuck out of here.
Jessica, answer this question. How willing are you? If you care so much about black men coming to black women, how serious are you about it, to where how willing are you to go wage war against these ratchet ass women and speak out and be vocal, build a channel, do everything you possibly can to reclaim the image and brand of black women?
They don't believe they have to
talk to me about that before you talk about what black men are doing or not doing. Go do that first. Go do that first, because without a doubt, I'm definitely about addressing the brand of black men first and foremost. See how that works? Go ahead.
Yeah, but she don't think that's an issue. She doesn't even acknowledge
Jessica,
that.
What say you? What Jessica, what do you think about that statement?
She's gonna deny
you seem to be avoiding that.
She's good because she's in denial, and that's fine. She's young, she don't know shit. Because this is Paris Milan talk. Paris Milan was young. She's like 24, and I can tell some of the motherfuckers she listened to just by some of the shit she's saying. You need to stay away from Chrissy and Paris Milan, because they're gonna have you fucked up. Chrissy basically fucked the same nigga that was she fucked D boys on the side, and then was on and off again with the same dude that was in music as a producer for 10 years. So she blew her own 20s fucking around, and now she want to blame that on black men. And I don't even know if she's full ADOS or if she's ADOS, real talk, because her dad's Caribbean, and I don't know what her mom is. So a lot of that shit comes from daddy issues, because her dad was a Rolling Stone. He was Caribbean, but ain't an ADOS problem. Now, going back to Paris already used to fuck with white men. You ain't gonna tell me no black chick that play tennis only fuck with black men. Fuck that. And she out of Oakland. So she's upset about the Bay Area's politics when it comes to, you gotta remember, in California, all these color channels and all these motherfuckers that do the most complaining when it comes to colorism, they be out of Cali, because Cali is where they really see motherfuckers dipping. Because again, it's musical chairs and all that other stuff. I didn't want to make this video about that, but see, At the
Wait,
end
hold
of
on,
the
hold on,
day,
hold on. This is interesting. You have left black women. Now what with Am1? Now I don't claim SYSBM or any of those acronyms or whatever. I do say date or fuck whoever you want. Jessica right now is actually proving the case for all of this shit because she refuses to grasp the broader logic we're talking about.
yeah.
Her last comment, I know at least 10 black girls with wifey qualities who should have an opportunity to fix or at least better the race for real, for real. You know 10
Oh,
black
oh,
girls. Wait. How about you, all 11 of you guys, make content that highlights what separates you from the other black women who are fucking up y'all brand? Why don't you address that point,
okay.
Jessica? Jessica Light, address that or we're gonna block you.
Or you know what? You need to talk to Concrete Rose and Danielle because they both got men. So if they can get men, well, when I say they can get men, I'm not saying, these are black women. So I'm not saying that I'm not trying to play them. But you make this is what she makes it sound like. She makes it sound like that she's being curbed by any black man. Every black man is curbing her. Every black man is
Right, which is
so,
definitely
which
not the
is,
case.
you're lying unless
She
you
just
said
doesn't want the ones who are saying what's up. Or
exactly.
she's not being proactive in saying what's up to them. Jessica, how many
Can you
men have you approached?
No,
Crickets.
she
There'll be
no.
nothing on that
Well,
one. There'll be
BGS already
crickets
asked.
on that.
BGS already asked her that, and it was the same thing, with Deity. I asked Deity. I asked her a very open-ended question because I'm trying to have constructive dialogue, despite some of the niggas talk about shut that bitch up. I'm like, okay, so what is your idea of a good black man? You know the answer she gave me, Am1. She said dreads, which is not
What?
wrong with. No, it's not wrong with dreads. I know some very
Why
productive
did
men
it
with
start
dreads.
with hair?
But no, it was the second thing. She said dreads, and 2 seconds later, she said gold teeth. Now,
Wait,
now she's
Jessica
out of
Light said that?
no, not Jessica, Deity.
Oh,
She's
deity.
she's out of Miami. So
Oh,
I already
shit.
know what archetype she led because her thing is masculinity. Her thing was, which that's what her idea of masculinity. So when women talk about
Gold
wifey
teeth and
type,
locks.
yeah, some trick daddy niggas. So when you talk about wifey qualities and all that bullshit, man, get the fuck out of here because you gotta remember, 33% of black women are married. So this idea that black women ain't getting married or black men ain't taking or ain't being stepfathers still, they ain't doing it like they used to. Again, Jessica, you're in California. You are in a extremely hyper competitive zone. So a lot of shit you saying doesn't even matter. Genetic gentrification is on 100. That is ground zero there.
Jessica, why would you be a faceless channel? Show if you're wifey material and you're all these good things, sugar and spice and everything nice, you and those 10 other girls all make channels, show your faces, be that representation, reclaim your brand,
I'm
or there's just going to be more SYSBM and MGTOW and all of that. You
I'm not
fix your problem. You fix
I,
your brand.
I'm not even gonna say all of that. But what
I
I
show
will
my face.
what I will say is, Jessica's in denial, and that's part of why a lot that she doesn't realize that's ammo that gives these dudes to leave. And most of these dudes you see on YouTube, you talk about all this hate and all this other stuff. Most of these dudes are not doing that. Most of these dudes are doing what Am1 was doing, and they're just doing them. Am1 just came to YouTube. Most of these dudes are just doing them. That's it. And they're not on YouTube. Shit ain't official because it's on YouTube. That's what a lot of SYGM guys act like they don't know. Like they just doing them. And it's like an iceberg. You see the people at the tip. You don't see all the iceberg. Look, what sunk the Titanic was not the tip of the iceberg. It was all that shit under the fucking water. But hey, maybe you'll learn, maybe you won't. Anyway, that was a good little after show, good little exchange.
They won't let us go. We too hot. We hot right now. They won't let us go.
I thought that was productive, and I'm glad we ended with this so people can. Oh man, I think Am1 is a feminist. I think that. Right. I'm like, so where did you pull that from? I don't know.
They pulled it out their little feelings. They hurt little feelings. That's where they got that from.
Yeah, talking like, man, I think it's the Illuminati, nigga. And as soon as they start talking that, like, I don't know if Kobe's dead. All right, pass the crack pipe. Yeah. Hey, yo, by the way, I'm gonna end with this. Yo, man, speaking of black men doing big things, they got a new Saw movie coming out. And you know who's starring in the Saw movie?
Who's that?
Chris Rock is Samuel L. Jackson.
What? Wow.
Samuel L. Jackson literally has
Chris Rock.
He said, yo, you guys, I'm not even gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you. You gotta see the trailer and see the
I'm gonna go
last
check that out.
see
That's
the
crazy.
last 30 seconds of the trailer where Samuel Jackson said, and he say some shit so funny. I'm gonna ruin it if I say it, but it's called Spiral. And Chris Rock is the executive producer, so he's actually putting money into it. So yeah, so it's gonna be like, oh, by the way, the theme is the new dude is going after only cops, but the only way to make that work is if the cops were black. Otherwise, motherfuckers will feel some type of way.
Right.
But hey, get that money, man. So you know they're getting points. So anyway, I just wanted to leave y'all on a light note. And like I said, Jessica, the shit we say, you may not believe this, but the shit we're saying, this is really for your own good.
Right.
Like you can, oh my God, there's so much hate. There's so much hate. I mean, shit, white men smack the shit out of him. Get the fuck out of here.
The truth of the matter is she actually knows it's true, but her emotions won't let her deal with the reality of it. You're gonna have to go check these other chicks and reclaim y'all brown black women.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, just like how I used to tell people that I coach, I was like, you don't have to show me you give a fuck about what I'm saying, but when I go back and look at the motherfucking numbers, it better reflect what the fuck I coached you on.
My focus is the fact that you have black men talking about building with other races of women. That's your main focus. The thing is, you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Actually,
you're focusing on the reaction. I'm saying don't fucking focus. No, do all the fucking you want if you got business. If you got your business together.
I'm about to say something Jessica not gonna like. Let me keep it real. If the majority of black men operated like Arab men do, which is they fuck what they want, but when it comes back, they have black kids. I mean, that's Igmore. Igmore states you can have sex with anyone. If these dudes had sex with nothing but non-black women and only had sex with black women when it was time to have a kid, you know what? It wouldn't be a problem. Like this, like black men are not here to validate your shit. You need to go get you a man, and you need to go and value the dudes that are hollering at you and stop complaining about the motherfuckers that are doing what the fuck they doing.
Yeah, she just doesn't want to focus on the real problem, and so the problem will persist. That's the last thing I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
we got a piece out. I gotta go.
Yeah. So anyway, man, with that being said, this has been great. This has been very productive. And, with this saying, this is Edward signing off. Peace.